going to be the grand finals of the South American Battle Right Pro League. So it is going to be against Red Canids and 3TT. Pretty excited to see this. I've seen 3TT do some like crazy stuff in this tournament, basically fighting their way all the way through the lower bracket to get here, and they've done it in pretty amazing fashion as far as I'm concerned. So really excited to see these two teams play. Red Canids, if anybody's not aware or doesn't watch SA very often, they're just amazing. They won, I think they've won like every season of Battle Right Pro League, and it isn't really one of those like they're just the best team in the region. I mean, they definitely are, but their competition is all like right up there with them. I don't think that they're gonna get this, like if they win, I don't think that they're gonna get it lightly. I also want to, like, full disclosure, I did bet on them, like Battle Right bets or whatever, so like I'm a little bit biased towards them, but I would not be surprised if 3TT really pushes them to the edge or even wins it. So let's just really quickly go over the picks and bans. I just want to point out really quick, there is an Ulrich ban right here, and then you do see Ulrich right here, and this is supposed to be Uldur. So I think just a mess up on the graphics guy part or whatever. But Red Canids banning out the Croak, seeing what 3TT did in their last series, so they're just like, get that the hell out of here. We do not want to deal with it. And 3TT is like, ban Ulrich because while that first game that we saw from Tex on Ulrich was not very impressive, like I feel like this guy is like an Ulrich meta in himself, and you kind of have to ban it. So he picks Uldur. They pick Blossom, so the double support pick. Then the round after that, we're going to get the Jumong into the Jade. This is, like, we saw this play out before. I mean, Dark Gods is, like, really good on Jade, so I think he just goes for it for comfort. I think Red Canids just really likes the safety of the Jumong pick. Based on what I've seen, I'll give the advantage over to the Jumong side, but I don't think that it's really, it's not like a hard advantage or anything like that. And Dark God plays with such finesse on Jade that I really think that he can make a case for why Jade is good in this matchup. So then we're going to get a Raygon ban after that from Canids and a Thorn ban from 3TT. So breaking up their normal comp that they like to do, which is like Jumong, Thorn, Uldur, which is like a pretty standard meta comp. And they're going to go ahead and pick the Rukon, which is like something that we see banned very often. I don't know why. I'm still waiting to see. Not that I think that Rukon is bad. I think that he's really good in like very niche situations. I like him against champions like Thorn, for example, because they have these moments of weakness where they have to engage and disengage, and when they're trying to disengage and you like pull them back in your team, you can really just screw up their HP totals and then make it so that they can't really like frontline anymore. And so that's why I really like it. Being that they didn't have a melee champion, it seems like a good pick. I think that they did a really good pick by picking Freya, because I actually don't think Freya has this problem because she has so many iframes. You know, she's got her own counter, she's got the iframe on her jump and the iframe on her Thunderclap, and also like her ultimate can be used to like reposition or like dodge abilities and stuff like that. Not that you want to be using it for that, but it totally can be. So yeah, I think this is really, I also like really hate Rukon into Freya. Just in general, because all her iframes make it really hard for you to land your curse on her, and her shields are just way better than your stuff, and it's like really difficult. So I'd say that the range advantage definitely goes over to Canids, but the melee advantage definitely goes over to 3TT. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Remember, like I said, this is Uldur and not Ulrich. So Uldur, Jumong, Rukon versus Blossom, Jade, Freya. So again, 6 unique champions, which is going to be really cool, and I'm excited to see how this is gonna play out. Just look at the battle rights really quick. Uldur is at the top, thank God. Pretty much cookie cutter build. That's usually what I expect from Uldurs. Rukon as well. I always feel like these 3 battle rights right here, 1, 2, 3, are your must-take battle rights. You need the extra space ability on Rukon. It's sad but true. He's just so much weaker when you don't have the extra mobility. It gives him another iframe, which he's like very dependent on if you want to like brawl with people in a meaningful way. You just need other ways to like outplay them and mind game them and stuff, and the second jump really helps to that. The silence duration increase is really good because Originally, I think it's a 0.3 second silence, and this makes it a 0.8 second silence. So it gives you a window to actually land an additional auto attack, and it also gives like your team additional time to like follow up before they can react. So really, really strong. What makes Rukon like create so much pressure, and then like he's really dependent also on his Q for getting in and out. So getting the one that reduces the cooldown is pretty much a must take. And then these two battle rates right here, you can flex them into like kind of whatever you want, although I think that the strongest ones are the Claw. I don't really like many of the Shadow Bolt battle rights just because they're difficult to hit. And his other weapon stuff is not great. I mean, it just seems worse than like range on the Claw and like reducing the cooldown on the Claw, because like most of his identity is going to be built around like he's hard to get close to and things like that. So I really like that. And then again, pretty standard build from the Jumong. Here we go. So round 1 between Red Canids and 3TT. This is the grand finals. And I think that the graphic is wrong. This is not supposed to be a best of 3. It's supposed to be a best of 5 with Canids being up 1 map. So as we can see right now, the Jade is doing a really great job keeping the Rukon at bay. The Rukon does, I believe, grab the orb for his team there, though, so they're going to be up in energy advantage right now. And the Jade is just doing a really good job creating a lot of pressure. She's actually in the front line right now. A little bit tricky because she did take a lot of damage from the Rukon because he did have his charge up, and then she did R him away, but he was able to stay on them with the space. I don't see the Blossom. I don't know if this is like a visual bug or if she's just like staying out of the... Oh, no, it's just a visual thing. You can see she's up at the top, but this is a little bit of a weird round here right now. Anyways, you can see that Canids does not have mid control, but it's okay because of the Rukon grab on the orb. And right here, this is going to be the tough part for... the Freya. Her counter is down, and the Rukon just has infinite claws because of his ultimate, and that's just going to be one that's really tricky. Freya gets a nice counter in there, but now that it's down, just getting really blasted, and this is... oh, that was a really good ultimate by Freya, securing the orb for her team there with her ultimate, also getting some nice damage on that Rukon. I wish we could see the Blossom. The Blossom is actually doing a very good job creating barriers for the Jade to stay behind. Ooh, that was a really good Chrono Flux there by Tex, reflecting that snipe. I don't think it hit her. It might have also been a snapshot. But you can see right now the Freya, as we saw in that very, very first round with the Freya, just has a really difficult time against Jumong, getting in there and doing like meaningful damage. And the Jade is definitely giving him significant cover fire and pressure, but the crazy thing about Rukon is that even when you're pushed outside like that, you still get like really, really good orb control because of the Claw. So I think that was very helpful in their victory. Although we'll see again, it was a little disorienting because the lack of visuals on the Blossom. So we'll try and hopefully that will not be the case this time. This is also a great map for Jade because so much of the action takes place between that little small wall on the left there and then the larger one on the right, and just makes this narrow... It's kind of like ARAM in League of Legends, where your skill shots are just going to be like really easy. Not easy to hit necessarily, but I mean, it gives your opponents like less mind games for where they can run. So nice grab by Rukon there onto the Jade, putting a lot of damage on her. Actually, I think he was able to pull that orb in front of her snipe and take it as well. Not positive there though. And now the Freya is kind of stuck in the was stuck in the backline there and got rooted. I believe that was from the Jumong trap, and so just taking a little bit more damage than she would have liked. And then there's the pressure from the Rukon, and now he's got his ultimate, and the Blossom does not have her gust. So that was tricky. They're going to try and get the stun on the Freya. They definitely miss, but nice silence on him anyways. And just making... The Rukon silence is just very tricky to play around if you do let him hit it on you. And, you know, every time that you ignore him, he's just free casting these 30 damage Shadow Bolts, dodging the snipe right there on the Jade, just getting in her her face, just doing so much damage, and really gets his ultimate again. Now just laying into this Freya, getting cooldowns out of everybody. Maybe this is why Rukon gets banned so much. Maybe he is just really, really good. I don't know. Maybe it's because of Ulduar support. Maybe it's the combination of Rukon and Jumong. I don't know. But this Rukon seems to be applying way more pressure than any of the other champions on the map at the moment. He's just doing a great job against Jade, just making sure that all her stuff is going into his shield. And just the respect that they have to pay every time his claw is up, and he ultimates is a lot. And you know, the other thing too is that the other champion on his team, the Jumong, is just a pressure machine, just like in and of himself. So in the little windows that you're like not playing against Rukon's, oh, see, they did update the they did their best to update the graphic and give Red Canids one match there by filling in half of the little bubble. So we are, as I said, this is a best of 5, or technically a best of 4, where 3TT has to win 3 games and Red Canids only has to win 2. So, but yeah, oh my God, that damage in the beginning on that Jade, and then the Freya has to try and get in and make up for the pressure, and just gets really zoned out well by the Rukon. There's a great pull. Every time you pull and get that silence on them, it's just great. And then you can zone with your Q, giving you another silence. The Freya does come in there and get a really good shield that gives her some good pressure, but she has to get out of there really quick. And whenever she's retreating, it just gives Rukon the ability to pull in a new victim and really collapse on them. And as you can see there, he pulls in the Freya and gets a nice silence on her. They do manage to get the orb, which is really good. The red team is going to need to get the orb. And then Rukon got incapped into the wall there, followed up by a snipe. It took a lot of damage. And those are going to be the kind of things that 3TT is going to need if they ever want to make this. I was going to say he should try and land on the Blossom there, but good choice to be more defensive. They did try and bait the Freya counter out there, right? But still managed to hit it. Not good. Rukon does dodge the ultimate with his R. And right now we have a pretty close match. 10% HP advantage for the blue team which is pretty incredible. I thought that they were way behind because of how much damage the Rukon has taken. But as you can see, they're doing a really good job fighting in this choke. And the orb's going to come up right now. And it's going to be missed by the Rukon. And I think that the blue team got it that time. Actually, I don't think so. Actually, maybe. I don't know. I couldn't see. It was too fast. But Rukon does have his ultimate. He does grab the Jade. He's going to get into the backline. He's going to R back to his team to dodge that Dance of the Dryads. He's got to claw up again. He's going to try and get the Blossom. He does miss. The orb is going to come up right now. He does get silenced. He shoots the Shadow Bolt, misses, gets the claw on the Blossom, and then some really good damage onto the Jade as the Blossom had to dodge the Rukon claw. She fell behind on the healing. Now this guy's got his ultimate. He's into the back line. He's got his weapon charge. He gets out. Doesn't use the ult. Uses the R. Smart move. Save the energy. Forces with the claw. Is going to get onto the Jade again. She has to be really careful because he's got his weapon charge up now. Anything he does is going to be really tough. Ooh, eats the Dance of the Dryad charge there. Does get the silence. Pulls her back. Oh, he's really weak though. He gets the older ultimate. This is going to be a huge stun. Oh, he does die on the impact though. We'll see if they can close this out. They do. They get the kill on the Jade. And now we'll see, or sorry, not the Jade, the older. And now without a healer, I don't think that they're going to be able to pull out this 2v1. Really good Freya ultimate there, but the Jade and the Freya are just not going to be able to pull this out, and that is going to go to Red Canids. So you can see these damage numbers on this Jumong, 1721, and the older has 1100 protection. The Blossom also very high in protection, but you can see the damage numbers are very low, like Freya plus Jade pretty much equals Jumong at this point. And then you have a Rukon that's doing a ton of damage as well, and just creating so much pressure with the claw. So I think that the longer these matches go, just the worse it's gonna be for 3TT, and they don't really have like a good burst comp. This isn't their Raigon Croak like they were running before. And as you can see now, you know, they're getting shoved out of middle, but it's pretty okay. I feel like Oh, wow, and they managed to the blue team managed to snag that orb right there. And they're just getting out much more cooldowns. They got to be careful of Freya right now. She's definitely going to have her counter soon. And I'm just not seeing Dark Gods land these snipes the way that he normally does. And one of the tricky things is the Rukon shield and the bubble from the Chronoflux on the Older. But this Rukon, every time he gets into her face, she can't do anything. She has to respect that. It was a great ult from him. He's going to come down on the Blossom, stun her, while the Freya blows her counter. I was hoping that they were going to get some good damage on them. He does manage to pull in the Jade once again. She's going to snipe, mistimes it with the orb, is going to try and get it from the AoE, but does not manage to. The Rain of Arrows does manage to take it. We are going to get a Mist Dragon arrow there. Don't remember what it's called. Nice pull on the Blossom, forcing the escapes out of her, and then that's the great thing too, is like once she has to escape, the Older is able to throw down those Sands of Time. And another ultimate gonna stun onto the Freya and the Jade, and they're just gonna get wrecked here. Not a lot that they can do. The blue team can just play it as sloppy as they want from here. I don't think it's gonna make a difference. And yeah, there's just nice little burst damage from the Rukon there. With the silence into the space, into the melee attack. And yeah, you can just see again the Jumong 1,068 points versus the Freya 608 and the Jades. You know, this guy's just doing like equal damage to these two people, and then on top of that you have the Rukon again, and you have the Older. The Older is doing a ton of damage as well. Not that the Blossom is slacking off by any means, but it's just a difficult advantage for them to kind of surmount. So here we are. Red Canids are on match point. 3TT, if they want to win this, are going to have to 5-0 reverse sweep. Seems pretty unlikely, especially with how bad the Jade has just started this round. The Rukon just did recharge his weapon. He's going to silence the Freya as well. He's going to go for a claw. Does get the Jade. The prediction from Tex with that E on the Older was great. Really made it so the Jade was not able to retreat in the way that she wanted to. And we have a 20% HP advantage, even though the first orb went to the red team. And the other really interesting thing too is you can see the difference between the Rukon and the Freya, where the Freya has to frontline, and the Rukon can just sit in the back with his team and provide the exact same utility for them by not overextending. And he can really look for opportunities like this, where had they gone more towards the north part of the map, he would have definitely stunned them with that Older ultimate. And now he is able to frontline with the pressure of his team, but he can always get back out with the R, which really gives him a lot more options compared to this Freya. And yeah, it just seems that like the Rukon doesn't need to worry about the Freya, because the Jumong and the Older just provide so much pressure that she never really gets the opportunity to punish the Rukon and abuse the fact that he's got an inherently weaker kit than hers for 1v1 Freya versus Rukon. So I missed that orb, by the way, just because I'm talking and rambling. But the HP advantage is pretty high. It's 20% now. Rukon has his ultimate, and he's just grabbing this Jade twice, forces her to jump, has the Shadow Bolt lined up. They get that orb. Oh no, the red team definitely got that orb for sure. But the Oldur stun again, just creating so much pressure. The fact that Oldur and Rukon can go from front line to back line with those abilities, those energy abilities, is really giving their team some versatility. Although Rukon just got caught in a pretty big stun chain right there. Nice boom seed followed by silence from the Jade. Really put them out of commission. Although the Jumong and the Oldur are gonna give a run for their money here, and they're not doing a bad job so far, although there was a huge double silence there by the Jade, and that was exactly what they were going to need to close out. And so this is kind of a common theme that we've been seeing in like a lot of these matches, where one team has a very obvious inherent advantage via composition, is in order for the opposing team to win, they have to get miraculous crowd control combinations and layers in order to pull things out. We saw it the first time 3TT played against that Blossom, where they hit her with the Entangle and then pulled her in and then got her with the Silence, and she just took too much of a chunk of HP to be safe for the rest of the round. And that round happened the exact same way, where the Rukon and the Oldur, they got a little bit too aggressive and and definitely got punished for it by just being too close to where all the CC was. And now we have Freya kind of behind the back line of the blue team, and really created some good pressure, but nothing too meaningful. They did manage to come out. Red team does grab that orb, which is good for them. They need to be getting all these orbs if they want to win. That was something that happened in the last round that proved very good for them. We'll see what's going on right now. The Freya's actually doing a very good job creating space for the Jade, and the Jade is getting into the melee range. She does have the Rukon on her now, and the Rukon has his ultimate, and he is just slapping her against this wall. Slapping you, and she just dies immediately. So I really like the play from Dark Gods there. I really liked his aggression. But just got really punished, getting between too many cooldowns there, and just really good timing on the Rukon ultimate. And, that guy cleaves for 20 damage every time in that ultimate and heals for, I think, 16 or as much as he's cleaving for. I don't remember. So that was just way too much. I also think she was line of sight pretty hard from her healer, and this is definitely going to be the first map going to Red Canids, which is going to put them on a 2-0 map lead due to the way the upper bracket works. From now on, 3TT is going to have to 3GG here in order to win the finals, if that is indeed their intent. Canids are going to go again with the Croak band, 3TT again with the Auric band. They're going to do the same Older into Blossom pick. Then we're going to see a Jumong into the Freya again, which is a little bit weird, but it seems like that was maybe a ploy for them to get the Iva, which you can see that they picked at the bottom. Because I don't think that... I don't know, man. I don't really know anything about draft. But Canids is going to go the exact same composition. Again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And 3TT are the ones that really need to prove whether or not they can do something here. So they're going to go Blossom, Iva, Freya, which is... Is that what they went in the very first round where they lost against Consitivo? No. That was Canids versus Consitivo. We'll see how they play this. We did see a Freya Iva composition earlier today. I don't remember who the healer was, but they did not win. It wasn't against this comp either. It was against Jumong, Paloma, Thorn. The Iva might be really good into the Rukon because you can cleanse the silence right away. So we'll see if this Freya can make good use of the Iva teammate. Pretty much looks pretty standard builds for the Canids team, with the Rukon going the exact same build last game, Jumong going the exact same build last game, Older going the exact same build last game, and we'll see what the Freya and the Blossom and the Iva go. The Jumong and the Rukon did not seem to lack in damage at all in the last game, and I think Iva is worse than Jade in this composition. So I don't really have much hope for 3TT, but they're the ones making the adjustment, and they feel comfortable with this, so we'll see how it goes. So as you can see, the Freya got silenced right away, and they're going to pull in that Iva, and the Rukon is just going to go ham on her. And pulls her in again, gets the reset on the weapon charge with his Q, and just huge HP advantage right now for Canids, and I don't believe that they got that orb. I believe the red team did, which they definitely need. But the Iva gets pulled in again, gets hit with the rain of arrows, completely spread out from her team. Now she's not going to be able to help the Freya as the Freya goes in, so the Freya is going by herself. Yeah, there's an incap on the Rukon, so she didn't get too wrecked, but she's going in again really hard. She doesn't have a U-turn. Oh, she does. Okay, never mind. And so pretty ballsy there, but ends up working out. Although she did take a ton of HP, it is a 25 HP advantage right now. She's going in again, trying to get this oil on all of her opponents. Will be really interesting to see what kind of build that she has after this. Get pulled in again by the Rukon ult. Again, Rukon, great pick into Iva because he can jump behind her tractor beam shield and really put a lot of damage into her. And he does manage to steal the orb there while silencing her. Does put pressure on the Freya to jump. She uses all her abilities. Does get a great counter though. Huge shield. I think that was the zap as well. And that doesn't leave any shielding for Iva. And Iva just gets caught out on the side with the Shadow Bolt and the steady shot from the Jumong. So this looks like this is going to be round one going to the Red Canids. And Blossom is doing her best right now to fight this Jumong, but she uses all her cooldowns, and then the Rukon just R's onto her and silences her, and she's dead, and that is going to be the end of the Freya. So let's go ahead and check this Iva's build. She has U-turn, speed, taser bounce, zap shield increase, and zap knockback. Really kind of odd. I mean, I guess we'll see how it pans out. Not my favorite kind of build. I normally like to go. I feel like if you're going U-turn, you want to get the squirt on the oil. But that's just me. I just like playing Iva that way. So here she goes in, out again, and then the Freya follows up. And pretty good for the Freya. You know, everyone's covered in oil, so very slow. It makes it really easy for the Freya to stick on them. And Freya is getting some good damage into this backline and doing some really good damage onto this Rukon while her team secures the orb. She does use her counter there, so it does have to be careful. Nice Chrono Bubble from the Older to prevent the Iva from doing anything meaningful on her jump in. And then there was a good pull from the Rukon as well. And there goes the Iva in again, and looks like she's going to get out. The Iva is playing around the U-turn cooldown really, really well, actually, I must say. Getting a nice couple of auto attacks off, and the rocket gets a nice little taser bounce off there. But the Freya and the Iva are really just not doing that much damage. Like, you can see the oil, you know, is oily, but it's not really amounting to much. And they're getting the orbs, but this stun is going to force the hop out of the Blossom. It is important to note that Rukon does have his ultimate, and if he sees an opening here... Oh, the Older actually just got really caught out there by the Iva and the Freya, and really low in HP, does get incapped, and this might be the turning point that they need. The HPs are very, very close, 47 to 40. Looks like red team is going to get this... Oh my god, the Freya died! Okay, never mind, and then blue team does secure the orb. Okay, well, I don't know how that happened. Let's go back to the tape. So Freya is just really weak. She's going for the greens over here, and then the Chrono Flux on the bubble, or the bubble knocks the orb away, and they were just able to. I think it prevented the healing or the damage from the Blossom. I'm not sure. Let's try. Let's look one more time. So there it is, and then yeah. So the Blossom was not able to get that orb before the Freya died, and. So yeah, really good chrono bubble by Tex there. Just this guy's such a great support player. I'm never disappointed with his performances. And stuns that Blossom out in the vortex, and she's gonna just eat it. And I don't know. I hate to say it, with such a nice HP advantage that they were able to get on the Older and not close out in any meaningful way. This is not looking good for 3TT. I really don't like this Iva build. Look how much damage she's doing. 475. The Jumong's doing 1,005. The Freya's doing 779, and the Rukon's doing 6. So again, and the Older's doing 735 points of damage. So again, we're in this like weird thing where it's like your two carries are not doing as much damage as the Jumong, and the Blossom just can't keep up. You know, no matter how many counters you're getting on this Freya and how many shields. And then right there, the Iva jumped into the back, and she got silenced before she could reactivate the U-turn, and she just took way too much damage. And this is just going to be a huge pain for her for the rest of the round, being this low on HP. To actually do anything meaningful. Freya did get some good damage there on the Rukon and on the Older, but the Iva is just going to be kind of non-existent in this round for so long. If she gets hit with a Shadow Bolt or another Claw, or even just that kind of damage right there, and like perfectly placed Sands of Time by the Older to hit her when she lands on the U-turn again. We do have a nice incap. Oh, but pulls the Older out of the Freya ultimate. That would have been huge. A little bit of a miscommunication there, or just unlucky overlapping of abilities. Not that the Older is doing any better right now. The Iva is getting a nice flamethrower on, and the Older is going to go down. We'll see if the Rukon and the Jumong can make anything out of this, and they can't. And that was actually a really surprising round going the way of 3TT. I really thought that the Iva's misplay in the beginning was going to really kneecap them going forward, but they managed to pull that around. And yeah, just must have gotten some really good, that older getting in-capped, and then I think he got stunned, or just him being in such close proximity to everybody even after using those mobility moves. And yeah, really was just the end of him. So we'll see if that happens again. Tex is a pretty smart player, so I imagine he'll do what he needs to do to make sure that that doesn't happen a second time. I love how he leads for his team right there, so that he can pass through them to give them the shield on his space. Really, really cool, so that they could just turn around and fight the Freya. We have one of these bugs again where we can't see the Blossom, although you can tell she's in the northern quadrant there. Let's see what's going on. Oh, it looks like they did just pull the Blossom in, even though you can't see it. It looks like the observer did reset. So now we can see the Blossom. Nice flamethrower on the Rukon, though. And this is what this comp is all about. They need to get damage on this Rukon, because he's really just silencing people and pulling them in so that Jumong can do a ton of damage. He can't really scrap very much. This double, the Iva being in melee range all the time is more threatening than the Jade was being in melee range, and so this is really tough. We saw a really good trade on there on the Jumong from the Blossom using Dance of the Dryads, and the Rukon is just not able to land any claws, and they have not gotten any orbs to blue team. So they're just very behind. Rukon finally has enough for his ultimate. He's going to use it. The Gust from the Blossom is used counteractively, and he pretty much gets no value out of that ultimate other than just like zoning people. Misses that Shadow Bolt as well. Really would have been nice if he had hit that. And the Freya and the Iva have just chased this Jumong, who's completely out of position for his team. Red Orb goes again, and the Freya ultimate lands on the Jumong, and this Jumong is just getting pressured, gets in-capped by the Freya, uses his Black Arrow, doesn't have the triple weapon charge, so he's going to have limited mobility. He's on the complete opposite side of the map, trying to get away from the enemies, and this is just leaving the Rukon completely exposed, and it seems like 3TT has figured out how to play against this little Death Ball choke comp that Red Canids has created for themselves. The Iva does go down in the end there, but I don't think that is going to have much effect on the outcome of this round. And it looks like the Older did just take the ultimate out into the vortex to die faster. Alright, so that is a 2-2 tie between Canids and 3TT, and this is what we need to be seeing from 3TT. Remember, they're on map point, essentially, where they have to... Red Canids cannot win one more map, but this is going to be over. So 3TT really needs to keep this up and figure out the secret to winning this here. But this is looking like it's going to be very close. And I constantly expect to see the blue team forced out into this choke and the red team having mid control. But, you know, one thing that I've noticed from Red Canids is they don't really seem to care about not having mid control all the time. Good ignore on the Freya there, just completely wastes her counter. Some decent damage, missed that claw. Had he hit that claw, that would have been very good for Canids there. Does get the double space into the Q, into the double silence on the Iva there. Nice little trade. Ours to get out. Good Chrono Flux from the Older there to prevent any follow-up. Nice Orb Steal from Blue. We did see a great counter from Freya earlier that really disrupted the advantage that Red Canids was able to make for themselves. Another good Freya proc, just getting lots of shields. The Rukon does pop his ultimate though. Good block from the tree. Oh, it does get really good pull on the Freya. This has got her completely out of position. She's taking a lot of damage, and while she's running away from her team, he's getting good pressure on the Iva. So now both carries are in very low HP, and then the Rukon is going to go in on this Freya with the Older ultimate, just going to chase. She does manage to ult, but he R's out. He does Shadow Bolt bait the counter there. That was a good cancel. And I think all they need to do now is just lean on the damage output and the HP advantage of the Jumong, and maybe get this orb. They did miss it. Red team does manage to get this orb, but a nice pull on the Blossom there, and get a good silence on her. Eats the Boom Seed with the Consume, And this is looking pretty good for Canids still. I don't think that they're going to lose this round, although the Olduar is starting to get low, and they can't seem to find a close on... I do believe they got that orb, though. They can't seem to find a close on this Freya, and a really great Dance of the Dryads there, equalizing the HP on the Olduar, and the Olduar is going to get caught and just destroyed there. And due to that Freya counter and the incap, I don't think that they're going to have this be able to find the window to close on the Freya, and I think that TTT is going to bring this one back. Wow, this is pretty... Wow, okay. Well done by them. I was going to say that is kind of the problem with Rukon and Jumong, is that they don't really have great chase potential. They have to use a lot of their abilities in order to keep up pressure. And the Freya has so much in and out. She's very much like Croak because of how many iframes and how high her mobility is. And so it's very difficult to pin her down, and then all her shields make her a pain in the ass to really take care of. And you've got the Iva supporting her with the zap. So that was really just an error on their part closing. I feel like they got a little bit too desperate, and it really showed. So yeah, they can't really let that happen. The one round advantage would have been really, really important for Canids here going forward, but we'll see what happens. We got Freya with an okay engage on the backline there, but she did get chunked out a little bit. Rukon is trying to find some purchase on the Iva, but doesn't get it. The orb goes over to the red side. Decent chrono bubble from Tex there, although not super high impact. The Iva's just jumping in again. Petrify on the Iva, but she just U-turns away. I don't really like that, the use of that R ability from the Olduar there. Nice bubble to block the Iva ultimate, though. That was really, really good. And then blue team grabs the orb, but they don't manage to take it. Red still gets it. Freya has her ultimate. Jumong has his ultimate, so need to be careful here. There was a flamethrower from the Iva there, which puts really good damage on this Rukon, and he does grab the Freya, hits her with a Shadow Bolt, has the other claw, silences. This is going to be it on the Freya. They need to kill her right now, and if they don't, we could see a repeat of the other. They need to get this orb as well. They don't. This is exactly what the Freya wants, just all these shields running around, getting this extra HP from the greens, ulting, forcing the ult out of Rukon. He can't get onto who he wants. He has to be on Iva and Blossom, although he's doing pretty good damage. But the Freya is at a HP now where she was able to pressure again, although now she's lost a ton, and this is looking really tricky for them. Although Red managed to get that orb again. Another hit Freya counter. They need to... Oh, the good silence, though, from the Rukon manages to close the window on that Freya, and that's exactly what they needed to do. I actually liked as well how they pushed more into the middle once they got the Freya weak, and they were not willing to give up the middle ground, which is something they didn't do last time, where they were playing more towards that choke point by their spawn. And this really prevented them from it really made them have to do desperate dive plays to get the orbs, because the orbs are always going to be really important, especially when your melee champions get that low. Any kind of true healing that you can get for them is invaluable, plus the extra energy, is going to really give you that advantage over the other team, give you more options in your abilities that you can use. So that was a really good play by Red Canids to hold the mid strong, and they found that window on the Freya and were able to close her out this time. So really well done. So Freya is going to get into the back line, doing what she does. Wasted counter there. She's going to have to play around that. Her jump should be up soon. She's going to go over this wall, try and get on the Olduar and the Jumong. The Iva goes in, though, and the Freya was more in the middle while the Iva was on the enemy side, so really mistimed aggression there. Then wasted Tractor Beam, although I don't believe she has the Tractor Beam stun, so I don't think that really, really matters. The Iva is having a really difficult time here finding any meaningful damage. She's really kind of stuck behind this wall and can never really go in at the same time as the Freya. Although that was a good taser, nice double stun on the backline there, and she got some really good damage that time with the flamethrower, as well as making it so that her team was able to secure that orb. There is still about a 15% HP advantage for the blue team, though, so they're not completely out of this yet. Olduar did just take that huge Freya ultimate, though. I'm worried about it. She does dodge the Petrify with her Thunderclap. Really good. They can't seem to peel this Freya. She's doing a really good job against the Olduar. Oh, double taser stun really sets the Olduar up for a tough situation there. The Rukon also taking the flamethrower, gets his ultimate interrupted, is going to get it again. It looks like, I don't exactly know how, I don't know what it's saying. Anyways, really good silence there on the Oldwer, and the Jumong incapped as well. And the HP advantage has been turned in the favor of 3TT, about 10% now. Although the Iva did just get chunked out there really hard, but you know, she's going to get healed up. And the Freya is actually just finding really good damage on the backline formation that Canids continues to play. And Rukon now losing his 1v1 to Iva. And this is the really tricky thing about Rukon. Like, while he is a very strong... oh, wow, and the Older died. While he is a really strong presence setting up for his teammates, he does have... If he misses abilities, his 1v1 potential, it pretty much disappears if he misses his silence in the curse application. So... that's pretty much what happened there. You saw him losing the trade to the Iva because of it. And, yeah. Although I will say that it was more or less the Freya getting really good backline penetration over that wall in conjunction with the Iva hitting the bouncing taser that I believe put the Rukon and the Oldur out of commission while the Freya was kind of just laying down the beats. So... yeah, so this is looking pretty good. I would say that this is still anybody's game. I'm starting to really like the way that 3TT are starting to play this. They're really starting to figure out how to play against the Iva, or I mean against the I'm sorry, they're really figuring out how to play against or with this Freya really well. Sorry again. Blue team is going to get that orb though, so we'll see what happens here. Rukon is in the front line, which is not exactly where he wants to be. He really wants to be in the proximity of Oldur and Jumong at all times, so that anytime he screws up his consume or something, there is meaningful pressure coming out right next to him. We did see Iva use her flamethrower there, but not much purchase from it. High energy usage. They also missed that orb. The blue team did there. That should have been theirs being on their team. Iva gets another flamethrower. Great damage on it that time. I don't know if she got any oil procs on it. I didn't see her last U-turn. And now the Rukon and the Older are really, really weak, and so is the Jumong. And we have a 56% to 75% HP. The Freya ultimate does hit the Rukon there. Really chunks him out. And this looks like it's 3TT's game to lose. They just need to keep mid control. They have about 10 seconds till this next orb spawns. 10 seconds till the vortex closes in. And I don't think that Red Canids has the HP to handle this. The Rukon got incapped there, completely out of commission, so nobody's really been able to deter the Freya. Great Blossom Tree block on the Rukon ultimate, followed by the Gust that got the other grab, and then Iva, a nice flamethrower again, really good damage. The Rukon just got pulled out of position by the Freya counter, and he's just not anywhere near his team. He can't help the front line at all. He's very, very weak. Used his weapon charge there, but just wasn't threatening enough. And yeah, this looks like Red Canids are going to lose this map. And 3TT is going to go up 1-2 now. So well done by them. Nice of them to give us a game. And let us go to map number 3. All right, so we are going to see the same bands one more time, Croak and Auric. I don't disagree with these bands. I think they're very smart. We are going to see a Varish first pick into Blossom. Now, Varish is not something we've seen pretty much all day today, which is kind of surprising. I've always found Varish to be a very, very strong pick. And with you know, them being between the bands, they are going to be able to get this Varish Paloma core, which is really strong. 3TT seems to be very comfortable with their Blossom Freya, and so they're going to go with that core again. And they are going to ban Ashka, which tried and true Red Canids composition, which is Varish, Ashka, Paloma. They do like to run that, so smart ban by them, doing their research. That's the kind of things you're going to need to stay in the top competition in this league right here, especially against this team, Red Canids. And then Red Canids is going to go ahead and ban the Jade. I like this. Take Dark Gods off of his comfort. They're going to put him on the Iva again, and they're going to close out this composition with the Thorn. And if you remember, we did watch that first game where Red Canids played Paloma, Thorn, Jumong, into Blossom, Freya, Iva. I think it was Blossom. It might not have been. It might have been a different support. We've seen how this composition plays out before, but it was a Jumong instead of a Varish, although I'd say that these two are kind of on the same level in terms of pressure and range damage that they put out. The Varish is going to be a little bit different because not as much AoE, but it should be interesting to see. I'm surprised no one's running like Alicia into these like long range compositions. Like, I really like Alicia into Varish and Paloma. I like the cryogenic lance where you can just apply the freeze to them without hitting anybody with the lance, and then you can force movement abilities if they do get chilled by threatening them with the E. But we're not going to see that. We're just going to continue to see the Iva, and I guess the reason for that is that the Blossom has less, Blossom is more like raw healing and crowd control than she is like dispels. And so I think the reason that we're seeing the Iva is to try and counteract some of the debuffs that the the Varish is going to be putting on people, being that his blue and purple circles are huge components of his damage that the Iva can get rid of. And I don't really like with the shield and the other side from Paloma and Varish, I just never find Iva is going to ever be able to put any meaningful damage down, and I just feel like Freya is going to have a very difficult time, and that they can play around the counter, and that I'm pretty sure even the Thorn can interrupt Freya's counter if he burrows under her. Seeing that, the Thorn build looks pretty standard. He did get that Barbed Husk battle right, and I couldn't see any on the red team. And so Freya is going to get into the back line, and of course Varish has his counter, so he's able to avoid a lot of that. Just really good healing here from Paloma. She did use that Pixie to prevent a lot of the damage that was going to be dealt to the Varish there, whose counter did not get procced. This first orb is going to go to the blue team, which is really huge for them. We see another Pixie activation from Tex, his second one of the game. Great other side, great entangle on the Iva, and the Iva is just in a really bad spot here, and she actually gets knocked out of her tractor beam by the burrow. So Iva is going to have to play this around very, very cautiously. Really big HP discrepancy now between the red and the blue team. Actually, great ultimate from Freya does secure that orb for her team. After the Thorn pulled it in. I don't know if she actually got any damage on the blue team, but not a bad use of the ultimate to get the orb. Now, Thorn a little out of position here, is going to get a little bit caught, but he's actually kind of okay now. I did see the Imperator's Guard, or whatever the shield is from Varish, come out onto him. Red team is going to get that second or third orb, I think, and they are still about 10 HP percent down, and again, we see this red Canids like playing this choke comp where they don't really care about not having mid control. They would rather make it so that you have to come into them, and I actually don't think that that's a terrible way to play around Iva, because, okay, so Iva did get U-turn again. Because you force Iva to come into like this area right here, and it's pretty easy for, I would say, for them to maybe swap positions and get in the middle and then put Iva in this really odd spot. There was a nice steal from Thorn on that orb there. Looks like Iva was going to take it with her ultimate, but he did manage. We get a good fear on Freya that keeps her out into the back. Good counter by her, gives her entire team shield. Paloma did get knocked out of the ring, but was able to use her Spirit Guide to get back. Great other side on that Freya ultimate, and Freya just dives into her death, and Thorn's ultimate over that orb there is going to secure that orb for Red Canids. So this does look like the first round is going to be going to Red Canids, and while I think that 3TT played this really good, I just think that Paloma and Thorn and Varish have too much self-sustain, and that they're just never going to get enough damage on this Iva. As you can see, every time the Iva is like trying to make use of her U-turn by jumping in, and every time she does, she just doesn't really facilitate her to do damage any better. She always has to get back out. As you saw that last round, she jumped over that pillar, and then as soon as she came out the other end, she got hit with an entangle, and so she just did very low damage that round. And this is going to be the challenge for 3TT is figuring out how they're going to make this Iva pick work. Because as you can see, the Iva jumps in, gets silenced, gets rooted, completely spit off from the side, can't even fight the Paloma, and now they have a 20% HP advantage just on the Iva alone. And meanwhile, the Freya, you know, is fine, but can't really do much against this Thorn. And again, the Iva jumps in and just gets really caught out, and the Freya is completely split off, and now it's her turn to 3v1. And so if 3TT can't figure out this rhythm that they have for their damage dealers, they're never going to make this work. And now Iva did not follow up on her U-turn, and so she is completely stuck in the back. She's fighting the Thorn, which is exactly who she doesn't want to be fighting, while Varish and Paloma just take care of the Freya. And again, still an HP lead for blue team. We are going to see the Freya get silenced there and get really chunked hard, has to ultimate away. Not ideal. And meanwhile, the Blossom is just mainly being ignored by the blue team. They really don't care about her healing. It's just about abusing the position of the Freya and the Iva. And more so, in my opinion, the Iva. The Freya is going to take her consequential damage just from being in melee range. Although we did see a little bit of an HP equalization right there in that last trade, with the Freya getting in the backline and doing a lot of damage to the Paloma. But again, the Freya gets feared, gets both of those circles on the by the Varish, and then just becomes like this very sticky situation for her where you can't afford to get hit by that Shatter. And really good Iva ultimate on the Paloma after the other side was forced by the Freya ultimate, and this might be where they get, that was a really good stun followed by a double dance of the Dryads, and yeah, Paloma actually gets sniped there. I don't think that they're going to be able to come back from this. There's not a good enough HP lead. And yeah, that was actually a really good, see right there, being able to abuse the mid control was really advantageous to 3TT. They were able to get massive energy advantages. I saw two different Freya ults. That last one really forced a lot of good cooldowns. It got a Barbed Husk out of Thorn, and it got the other side out of Paloma. And then the Iva was able to just machine gun Paloma to a point where she became at that critical HP level where it's like, okay, you can't really make any more mistakes. And then the Dance of the Dryads was just there to give that final mistake, and she definitely paid for it. So good backline penetration here by the Freya. Although all her things are on cooldown, the Thorn is gonna burrow under her. I wish they had played around that counter better. Could have been a bigger punish. Although the Iva jumps into the backline, has no U-turn to get back out, and is just getting massacred here by the Varish. You never want to be Iva trying to trade against a Varish. Never going to work, especially when there's a Paloma right next to you. And this is what I'm talking about, this kind of just like mismatched damage dealing by the red team, and the Iva trying to help damage, but hits the counter on the Varish, and going to U-turn in, and again, just U-turns out instantly. And so this is just like, you know, 5, 6, 7 seconds. Iva is doing no damage, and Freya is just getting massacred. The flamethrower is going to come out, but as you can see, it's just too late. The Freya is just taking too much damage. The Iva is just not doing enough, and I really didn't like this this pick. You should have picked a mage into a mage. I would have really liked to have seen an Alicia or maybe a Destiny. Could have been good against the Thorn Varish combo. You know, someone that's a little bit more bruisery. But this, I don't know, the Iva's just not going to cut it. Look at Iva's score, 420 damage. You know, toke up on that. And the Freya at 348 because she just never has suppression from the Iva to really, like, get done what she needs to be getting done. So this is really going to be 3TT's cross to bear here. They're really going to have to try and make this work. I actually, let's hold on. Let me go back really quick and just look at Iva's build. Okay, so Iva went. I'm going to assume that is the extra charge on her M2. We'll have to watch more closely. She's got the U-turn and the speed, the taser bounce, and the shield knockback. So again, This isn't really like a high damage Iva build unless you got the extra damage on the rocket, but I'm not a huge fan of that one either. I would rather get the double charges. But we'll see. She's just, you know, just not really doing a lot of damage. It's just very hard for her to coordinate well with the Freya. They have such like obvious moments of weakness. Then Freya gets feared right there. Immediately her counter gets blown. And Iva is just proccing Varish counters and just taking free shots. And it's really tough. And every time this Freya is getting blue orb right there, the Freya is getting feared and then pulled back in with the root and then silenced by the Varish. And it's just a living hell for her. And like I said, the Iva... Look at what she just can't. She hits a taser. Nobody procs it. She gets feared as soon as she jumps in. She has to U-turn back out. She's just not doing enough damage. And another good taser proc there by her gives a little bit of damage onto the Varish, but just really not seeing enough from her to warrant what she's doing. Great barbed husk there from the Thorn. Really good damage applying thorns to everybody. And he's getting really close to his ultimate right now, which I wouldn't be surprised if we see after they get this orb right here. He's going to hit this Freya a few times. He's so close to getting it. He doesn't have it yet. The Varish has his. There's the Thorn's ultimate. Good entangle on that Blossom, just keeping her out of the battle for a few seconds, lowering her healing. There he is. He's going to use it right on the Freya, right after she uses all her iframes. Gets a nice entangle on the Iva, who just gets pummeled by the Varish. And it's just... They just have no way to penetrate this Varish and the Paloma. Freya and Iva just have to be way too close, and the Paloma is just constantly panicking everybody, and the Varish has counter and shield, so he's really not in any danger. And meanwhile, you know, Thorn is just doing meaningful damage. He's getting like great orb control for his team, although I'm pretty sure Freya just took that one with her ultimate. Great barbed husk there. Got a lot of procs because the Iva was channeling an ult. And, you know, we have a like 40-50% HP advantage right now, and I just don't think that they're going to be able to get this. The Thorn is just doing this crazy Thorn barrage. And, you know, Varish is just very untouched. He doesn't really seem to care. And there goes the Freya and another orb to the blue team. And I think that is going to be it for this round. I really think that another champion that 3TT could have picked over Freya is Rook. I actually don't mind Rook Freya very much because proccing Rook's counter is so much more punishing than Freya's. And, you know, he's got that long range engage, he's got the stun. If he hits his charge, he's just charging all over the map because he gets the reduced cooldown battle right. He's got that armor penetration, and that would have been better in my opinion if you were going to try and make this Iva pick work. But right now, it's just not looking too good. And I believe that the Iva got the 30 damage on the rocket because I'm not seeing her use double rockets very often. And this round is going a little bit better, but look how fast the Varish is back to full HP. Just really not making any like a meaningful dent. And this is the great thing about Thorn and Paloma is all the Thorn's healing is getting transferred to your allies through the Spirit Link. So like Paloma doesn't even actually have to be focusing her attention on you to keep you topped off if you have another ally that's doing a great job with that as well. And then the healing between the orb is also going to be shared, I believe, which they did secure for themselves right there. And like I said, you're just not seeing this Iva get anything meaningful. She's fighting the Varish right now, and like I said, you really don't want to 1v1 Varish as Iva, just like Freya doesn't really want to 1v1 Thorn. This is just really, really a tough composition for a 3TT to pull off here. Good entangle on the Blossom right there. Just shuts out the healing. Again, the Iva, what the hell are you doing on that side of the map? Really good time zap there, by the way, to cure those circles before the the Shatter, but Iva's at 21 HP, and there's really not a lot she can do to get back into this. There was a good Orb Steal, a good swap by the Paloma to put the Iva in a crappy position again, and you know, because the Varish and the Blossom and the Freya can't really handle the Varish just closes in on the Blossom. That looks like it's going to be it. I'm trying to remember what happened in that one round that 3TT won, but it seems like it was one of those, yeah, the Freya got that ultimate that led into the Iva ultimate, and the Paloma had no other side. So, yeah, like I said, those are like very difficult opportunities to create for 3TT, so I don't really see this going their way. I think Red Canids are probably going to close this out in 1 or 2 more rounds. And I think that they are going to be the champions, but we'll see. Freya trying to get into the backline again, just gets shoved out, trying to create space between her and this Thorn so that she can get in on this Paloma and Varish. But like I said before, like what is Iva doing? She's doing nothing. Waste her energy so they can get that orb, which is okay, but we don't need you to get orbs, Iva. We need you to do damage, and you're just flying through the air, and now this Varish is putting himself between you, which means you're not going to be able to do anything, and I'm sorry, man. The Iva is just... I love Iva. She's like one of my absolute favorite champions, but it's just not in this composition. She's not facilitating the role that they need. You know, if they were so... It seems like they were hell-bent on picking the Freya, so I would have rather had seen them pick Freya first and then try and flex a more appropriate support, because it seems like they were really worried about being able to dispel, and they could have picked Lucy and they didn't, and then maybe they could have picked something better than Iva, although they did just dump on that Paloma. Sorry, I was kind of just writing this match off. I'm pretty sure it is still done. The Iva is at 3 HP, and there it is. Okay. So, well played, Red Canids. They are going to be your South American Battle.Right Pro League grand finalists for the 3rd season in a row, I believe. And much deserved. They've managed to keep their skill up all these different seasons, and really well done to 3TT. Like I said, I believe that they were newcomers to the scene, so I was actually really impressed that they were able to get this far and slaughter their way through the lower bracket finals. So really well done. They even took a map off of Red Canids, which I think is, you know, a pretty big accomplishment.